यमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीम् उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी. Hare Krishna. So, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam has 12 cantos. Each canto represents different body parts of Lord Shri Krishna, and we are completing today first, and we have already completed first canto, and now we are on to the completing the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So first and second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam are nothing but the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So today we are completing the lotus darshan of lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And then we go to the third canto, which is the third and fourth canto are the thighs of Lord Krishna. So we are going to take the darshan of Lord Krishna's thighs. So in this way we ascend upward, going towards the face of Lord Krishna, which is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we take the darshan of Lord Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Krishna. And when Lord Krishna departed his own world, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Parikshit, Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, and again was recited in forest of Naimisharanya by Shruta Goswami to Shaunak Rishi and Adi sages. So when in Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, Srila Vedvyasji writes, Krishna swadhamo pagate dharma gnanadi bisaha kalo nashta drisham esha purano ki adhunoditaha. Which means that this Bhagavad Puran is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Shri Krishna to his own abode. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get the light from this Puran. So when you have a sunlight, the darkness disappears. Similarly, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, all ignorance disappears from our life. And this age of Kali is the age of hypocrisy and quarrel, where people fight with each other for no reason. So in this age of hypocrisy and quarrel, only way to get enlightened and only way to learn about the spirituality is Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a blessing for all of us, and we are fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has translated this Srimad Bhagavatam from Sanskrit into English so that we can relish this nectar. This nectar is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, third shloka as Nigama kalpa taror galitam phalam shukhamukhad amruta drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuro rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So what does this mean? That this Srimad Bhagavatam is the mature fruit of the Vedic literature. If you think this Vedic literature as the big tree, then in that there is a mature fruit, which is the Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. This fruit has nothing but Srimad Bhagavatam, and this fruit has become very tasteful because it is being Shuka Mukhad Drava Amruta Samyutam, because it has been recited or spoken by Shukadev Goswami. So this fruit has become a nectarian juice. There are two things. One is the eating the fruit, and another thing is to drink the juice of the fruit. There is a when you eat the fruit, you have to do some hard work. You have to chew the fruit, right? थोड़ा मेहनत करना पड़ता है. But when you drink the juice, Do you have to work hard? No, you just drink. Right? Similarly, this Srimad Bhagavatam is a mature fruit, but it has become a nectarian juice because it is being told by Shukdev Goswami. So uh, he has presented in such a beautiful way that it has become a nectar now. That is why here it is mentioned in the shloka that Nigama Kalpa Taror Galitam Phalam. Uh, Kalpataru. Kalpataru means desire tree, which means that there is a desire tree in the spiritual world where whatever you want, you can ask from this tree. Say you want gulab jamun, so tell to the tree, give me gulab jamun, so that gulab jamun will come. If you want some anything, whatever you want, it will come from the desire tree. So similarly, the Vedic, this Srimad Bhagavatam is this mature fruit of this desire tree, which is the Vedic literature, which is, and that has become very nectarian because it is coming from the mouth of Shukdev Goswami. So he is requesting us, who? Vedvyasji, that please drink this nectarian juice. Because when you drink nectar, what happens? You become immortal. अगर आप अमृत पीते हैं तो क्या होता है? आपका अमरत्व आ जाता है. अमरत्व यानी you never die actually. So when we drink the juice of Srimad Bhagavatam, we are drinking nectar, Amrut. So what that does that mean is that Srimad Bhagavatam gives us nectarian spiritual education, which makes us connected with Lord Shri Krishna himself. So that is why here it is mentioned as Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam Shukhamukhad Drava Amyut Shukhamukhad Amruta Drava Samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhur Aho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. So here it is requested that, O expert and thoughtful man, relish this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literature, which is emanating from the lips of Shukdev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, it is including the liberated souls. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is a wonderful Vedic literature, and we are fortunate to have facility to hear this Srimad Bhagavatam. So last week we learned about 10 important concepts of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam has 10 principles, right? 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, what are these 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam? And how we can learn about them. So, the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 10th chapter, and 1st shloka. It mentions about these 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, here is the shloka in front of you. Shukdev Goswami is reciting this shloka and he is introducing us about the highlight of entire Srimad Bhagavatam. If you want to extract entire Srimad Bhagavatam and point out what are the things in Srimad Bhagavatam, then these are the 10 things. And what are those? Atra sarga visargascha. You can repeat after me. Atra sarga visargascha. बोलिए. Atra sarga visargascha. खाना नहीं खाया आज. एकादशी निर्जला अभी टाइम है. अगले सैटरडे, अगले मंडे को है. जरा जोर से बोलिएगा. अत्र सर्ग विसर्गश्च स्थानं पोषणम् ऊटया मन्वन्तरेषु नु कथा निरोधो मुक्तिराश्रया. Hare Krishna. So there are 10 subject matters which are mentioned in this sloka, which are Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Uchaya Manvantare Ishanu Katha Nirodho Muktir Ashraya. तो आइए, we are going to learn about these 10 subject matters. First is Sarga. Atra Sarga. Sarga means primary creation. Primary creation by Lord Mahavishnu. Okay. Then there is secondary creation. Secondary creation by Lord Brahma. Third point is Sthanam. Sthanam means the position for living entities. Different planetary systems. All the living entities have different planetary systems. Like human beings are on the earth. Similarly, there are living entities on all the planetary systems. Like on the sun also there are living entities. There is Surya Devta, and as well there are living entities. Now we don't know about them because we cannot approach sun god. Can you go to sun? If you try ever, then you will be finished because sun is very hot planet. However, the living entities on the earth hot planet have different types of body. For example, we are living on the earth, so we have this body. But then fish lives in the water, so fish has a different body. And then there is a turtle who can live on earth as well as in the water, so it has a different body. So, and then there are birds who have different body because they live in the sky. So similarly, all the living entities on the other planetary systems have different bodies, but there are definitely living entities on all the planets, and the description of those living entities on different planetary system is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, and we're going to learn this as the time goes further. Then Poshanam, then all these living entities have to be maintained, they have to be protected. It's not just that you create and you leave them like that. They have to be Poshanam, they have to be maintained. So who does that? How does Lord protect living entities on all the planetary system? That science is also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now imagine modern science tries to learn about these living entities on different planetary system. It will take another few billion years probably for them. Maybe trillion million years before they know about anything on the sun. But Srimad Bhagavatam already has described this. Then there is Utaya. Utaya is now all these living entities on all the planetary systems, they are doing some karma. है ना? So why are they doing different types of karmas? What is the inclination for performing the karma for different living entities? That is also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Manvantara. So Manvantara Shabda or word is derived from the word Manu. Manu is not Manushya. Manushya word is derived from word Manu, but Manu is the Adhishtata. He is like a Adhyaksha, under whom he is the director of all these living entities. So there is a Shastra, there is a literature called as Manusmriti. So there are laws of Manu. Manu is a personality who is created by Lord Brahma. So in a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. So the duration of this Manu is called Manvantara. तो एक दिन के ब्रह्मा के एक दिन में कितने मनवंतर आते हैं? 14 मनवंतर. 14 Manus come in the day of Brahmas. Now how long is the day of Brahma? कौन बताएगा? How big is the day of Brahma? Let's see, our online friends, if you know anything, you can type it in your chat box. How big is a day of Brahma? 4 lakhs. याद नहीं है प्रभु जी? याद नहीं? ब्रह्मा जी का एक दिन कितना बड़ा रहता है? नहीं 24 घंटे कितना बड़ा? What is the duration? So let's do this again, one more time, okay? And then if you forget, then we will remind it again, okay? चलिए ध्यान से अभी इस बार. So one day of Brahma is composed of 1000 cycle of Sati Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. Okay. Sati Yuga, Treta, Dwapar or Kali multiply by 1000. So Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. Thank you Chandra Prabhu for typing your message. Then so one Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. You multiply that by 2 times. That becomes Dwapar Yuga. Then you multiply Kali Yuga by 3 times. That becomes Treta Yuga. And then multiply Kali Yuga by 4 times. That becomes Sati Yuga. So if you combine all this together, then the total is 4.32 billion years. That is the duration of one day of Brahma. Now, if you multiply that by 1000, that is the one day of Brahma, that is 12 hours, right? And then similar is 12 nights, 12 hour night of Brahma. ख्याल में आ गया? ऐसे ही 100 years ब्रह्मा जी lives. So it's a big life, right? याद रहेगा? याद रहेगा कि नहीं? Will you remember this or no? It's very difficult. Okay. So Sati Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga multiplied by 1000 is one day of Brahma. Similar is one night of Brahma.
कलियुग को
Okay.
उसे मल्टीप्लाई करके वो क्या आ जाएगा?
क्या आ जाएगा? What is that question?
कलियुग को किससे मल्टीप्लाई?
So 432,000 years
Okay.
multiply 2, which is 864,000 years, which is the Dwapar Yuga. You understand this?
Yeah.
Like that. You keep on multiplying, then that is 4 times is Sati Yuga. You multiply, combine that together, 4,32,000 years, and then that is, you multiply that by 1000. Okay. Okay, so idea is that in one day of Brahma, 12 hours of Brahma, there are 14 Manvantaras. Okay, we'll talk about that. And then the laws of that Manvantara is also. So there are different Manus. So their Katha is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Every Manu's Katha. Currently we are in the 7th Manvantar. So we are right at the middle of Brahma's day at 12 o'clock position. अभी 7th Manvantar है. उनका नाम क्या है? स्वयंभुव Manu. This is the 7th Manvantar going on. Then there is a Ishanu Katha, science of Lord Krishna, science of God is also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then there is annihilation, how this material world is destroyed. Anything which is created is also destroyed. So how it is destroyed is also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then there is Mukti, liberation. So all these living entities, how they can get liberation, how they can get out of the repeated cycle of birth, disease, old age and death is also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. And last but not the least is Ashraya, that how can we take the shelter of Lord Shri Krishna's lotus feet. Ashraya, supreme shelter, is also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now all these are explained in a beautiful story format with the examples of past lives of devotees. So we can learn from the example, real life of devotees, how they lived this Srimad Bhagavatam. So here is a picture which depicts all the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam in the form of a lotus. So you can see in the middle of the lotus is Lord Krishna, that is the Ashraya, Bhagwan ka Sharan. Then we start from here. Okay, that is the first leaf, which is the Sarga, and you can see Lord Mahavishnu sleeping, and from his body coming numerous universe. That is Sarga, creation by Lord Mahavishnu. Then there is Visarga, which is secondary creation by Lord Brahma. This is the second petal. Then there is a third petal, which is Sthana, and you can see different planetary systems. दिख रहा है? हाँ, तो अलग अलग planetary system का वर्णन है. और then Poshana. Poshana means the maintenance or protection of the devotees. Here you can see Gajendra. You can see this picture. There is Gajendra protected from crocodile by Lord Vishnu, right? We'll talk about it. अभी आएगा, वो भी आएगा. So there are numerous devotees being protected by Lord Krishna and all their katha, which is Poshana. Then Uta. Uta means the three modes of nature acting upon living entities. Sattva guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. That is detail explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Manvantar Katha, sixth topic. छठा टॉपिक क्या है? अभी हमने बात की मनु की कथा. हाँ, मनवंतर कथा. इन दिस पेटल यू कैन सी मनु. हाँ, उनकी कथा है. फिर सेवंथ टॉपिक है, क्या है? ईशानु कथा. लॉर्ड, वेरियस इनकारनेशंस ऑफ लॉर्ड, लाइक मत्स्य अवतार, कुर्मा अवतार, नरसिम्हा अवतार, वामन अवतार. Like all the incarnations of Lord are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the eighth petal is Nirodha, annihilation, destruction of the material world. So we're going to learn about that also from Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the ninth petal is Mukti, liberation. How can we get Mukti from this material world? Through Bhakti Devi. You see this lady standing there? That is Bhakti Mata. Bhakti Mata can give you Mukti. And then you enter into the 10th topic, which is the Ashray. The ultimate center of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam is Lord Krishna and taking the shelter of Lord Krishna. है ना? Is that beautiful picture? समझ में आ रहा है आपको सब? हाँ? हमारे ऑनलाइन भक्त, are you all able to understand this picture of Srimad Bhagavatam? And it explains everything about Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you remember this picture, then you will remember the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. This is like all the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam are here. So let's understand one by one. So we are learning second canto, 10th chapter, third shloka. इसमें every shloka में definition है. There is a definition about what is sarga, what is visarga. Very nicely explained in detail in this few shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's learn about one by one. So let's learn about sarga now. So in this shloka there are 4 lines. I'm taking 2 lines at a time. Okay, and then we'll go to the next shloka. Like we'll slowly study everything. So first 2 lines, 10th chapter, 3rd shloka is Bhutamatra Indriya Dhiyam Janma Sanga Udharataha. So these 2 lines, they explain about Sarga. It says Janma Sarga Udharata. Janma means creation, Sarga manifestation, Udarata, which is called as so-called creation. So what is this Sarga, or what is this primary creation? This is primary creation is done by Lord Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu creates the basic necessary elements for Lord Brahma to make secondary creation. So what are those basic necessary elements? So first is Bhuta Matra Indriya Dhiya. So what is this Bhuta? Bhuta means Panch Mahabhuta. पंच महाभूत आपने सुना रहेगा. अपना शरीर जो है वो पंच महाभूत का बना हुआ है, और जब हमारी शरीर की मृत्यु हो जाती है तो what happens then at that time? All the material elements of our body is dissolved back into पंच महाभूत. विलीन हो जाना, पंच महाभूत में विलीन हो जाना, ये आपने शब्द सुना रहेगा. तो there are different primary elements of which our body is composed of. And what are these primary elements? So fire, water, earth or land, air and sky. So in Sanskrit it is called as Bhumi, Apaha, Anala, Vayu and Kham. So these are the 5 natural elements our body is composed of. Then what is the next? We described here Matra. Bhuta Matra Indriya Dhiya. Bhuta Matra Indriya Dhiyam. So what is Matra means? Matra means that objects which are perceived by our senses, right? Our Indriya, our senses, they perceive various items, various objects, and the objects are in the form of a sound. Our ears can perceive sound. So this sound is created by Mahavishnu. Sound cannot be created by anybody else. Like, even though we make the sound, but original sound was made by Mahavishnu. That is perceived by ears. Huh? Can you see sound? You cannot see the sound, but you can perceive the sound. Now, this sound energy was primarily created by Lord Krishna. Bhagwan banaya hai, Mahavishnu. Then there is a form. Form is perceived by our eyes. Everything has a form. Like Prabhuji has a form. This building has a form. The flower has a form. How do you perceive a form? Eyes. You can see the beautiful form through eyes. Our Lord Krishna has a beautiful form here, Shyam Sundar form. So that is, you can perceive that form through eyes, right? But that form, identity, was created by Lord Krishna. Then there is a third sensation, which is the taste. Uh, Taste is created by Lord Mahavishnu. And then that was given to Brahmaji, that now you give taste to all the different living entities. So some people like spicy food, some people like sweet food, different taste. Uh, Brahmaji gave different taste to everybody. But then primarily this taste was created by Mahavishnu. Then came to Brahma, and then Brahma didn't create any of this. Brahmaji just assembled by Brahma. They say manufactured in this and assembled here, like that. So assembly is the secondary creation, right? For example, nowadays everything is made in China. Mercedes-Benz car also may be made in China. So primarily made there and then assembled in Canada, like that. Brahmaji, Brahmaji assembles everything. So secondary creation, Visarga is by Brahma, but primary creation by Mahavishnu. We'll talk about it. Then there is then there is a smell. Smell is also primary creation by Mahavishnu, and then touch. Touch is also one of the sensation, but this is created by Mahavishnu. Then Mahavishnu created Indriyas, Gnanendriyas. So he created eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Now, how could Lord Vishnu create this? Because he has this. Some people say that God has no form. That is not true. God has a form. God has beautiful eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. That is why we have that. Uh, For example, a father has a body. That is why son has a body. अगर फादर को ही शरीर नहीं है तो सन को शरीर, पुत्र को शरीर मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा. ऐसे ही भगवान को शरीर है इसलिए हमारे पास शरीर है. तो लोग कहते हैं कि भगवान को कोई स्वरूप नहीं है. ये भी नॉन साइंटिफिक. Then there is a next one is Dhyam. Dhyam means mind. So mind was also created originally by Lord Mahavishnu. Then he gave to Brahma. Now Brahma, you give this mind to all the living entities. So every living entity has a different mind, right? Some people have very advanced mind. Some people have different types of mind. Like so, different types of minds are being created. So in this way, all the living entities have these components. What are these? Panch Mahabhuta, our Sharira. Then we have different matras, Indriyas, Dhyam. These are total 16 elements. These all 16 elements are called as Sarga. Actually, in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita uh, is information about nature and enjoyer. In that, Lord Krishna is describing about 24 elements actually. 24 elements. So this is 16 plus 8 more. 24 elements. So now these all are um, elements. Some of them are subtle, which you cannot perceive, like mind you cannot perceive. In addition, in Bhagavad Gita, three modes of nature. Sattva guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna is one of the additional element also described, and then Buddhi is also included as a subtle element. That is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then there are Karmendriyas also, which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So total 24 elements in Bhagavad Gita, sorry. So in this way, this is Sarga concept. Sarga is primary creation. So ये भगवान विष्णु है यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं. What is the name of this Vishnu? This Vishnu is Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is lying on a causal ocean. And then Mahavishnu, from his body comes innumerable universes. बहुत सारे विश्व उनके शरीर से आते हैं. और हर एक शरीर में हर एक यूनिवर्स में, इन एवरी यूनिवर्स महाविष्णु एंटर्स एज अ, बताइए, अभी आप बता रहे थे विष्णु के नाम. लेकिन हर एक यूनिवर्स में भगवान कैसे एंटर करते हैं? गर्भोदक्षाई विष्णु. महाविष्णु इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड कारणोदक्षाई विष्णु, ये दूसरा नाम उनका ये है. एंड देन ही एंटर्स इनटू एवरी यूनिवर्स एज अ गर्भोदक्षाई विष्णु. Is the expansion. And then from Garbhodakshai Vishnu's navel comes Brahmaji. You can see Brahmaji here sitting in the, Brahmaji coming out from the navel of, there is a lotus coming out and on the top is Lord Brahma. And from Brahma comes innumerable living entities. And each living entity is being looked after, protected by, again, Vishnu. And that Vishnu is called as Shirodakshai Vishnu. That is the further expansion. So there is a Vishnu in your heart, Vishnu in your heart, Vishnu in your heart, Vishnu in heart of every living entity, and that is called as Shirodakshai Vishnu, right? So this is a primary creation by Mahavishnu, and then there is, so this is another picture. Here you can see Mahavishnu, and from his body are coming innumerable universes, right? And this is one of the universe. And every universe has similar construction. Here is the Garbhodakshai Vishnu lying on a Garbhodak ocean, and from his navel coming this stem, and then Brahmaji is coming out from the stem or the lotus flower, and then all the Devi Devtas and different planetary systems. So this is primary creation. Okay, so Brahmaji is also part of primary creation, because that is, he is made by Lord Vishnu. Okay, now then the same shloka describes about the secondary creation. Let's see, our friends online, is everything okay? Are you all able to understand? Chandraji is asking, all these Vishnus in human form, are these Vishnus in human form, and is Brahma in human form too? Okay, thank you. So yes, Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna himself is also human form, and from him comes all the forms. So yes, everybody has a human form, and uh, Lord Krishna, who is the original personality, has his form as a two-arm form, but he expands himself into the Chaturbhuja Rupa, which is described in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna demonstrates Vishwarupa to Arjuna. In this, Lord demonstrates him Mahavishnu, Chaturbhuja Rupa, and then Vishwarupa also. Okay, Chandraji has a question, but you said that in different planets the form may be different. Yes, in different planets the form of living entities is different, which means that, or different universes, the form of living entity may be different, which means that their bodily composition is different, but the structure of all the living entities, basically human form, is the same, which is two eyes, two nose, two eyes, one nose, two ears, like that. Only the composition is different, which means that the body is different. Like our body is made up of this earth, metal, earth, water, air, fire, ether, and other living entities might have different types of body, which can last longer, again in different circumstances. Like for example, like if you want to go to moon, then in the moon you go with this same body, but you wear a special suit, which is a space suit, right? So then you can fight against the cold climate on the moon. Similar special type of composition of the body. Like body is the similar, architecture is similar, like Lord Krishna's Sharira. How every living human being has similar form, uh, but then their composition is different. Uh, I hope that helps you to understand, Chandraji, your question. So then we go to the secondary creation. Secondary creation is Brahmano Guna Vaishamyad Visarga Paurusha Smrutaha. So then subsequent secondary creation by Lord Brahma as a resultant interaction of 16 elements and the modes of nature is called as Visarga. So this we studied. So here is Brahmaji, and from Brahmaji comes innumerable Devi Devtas. 33 crore Devi Devtas come from Brahmaji, which is called as Visarga. And then this description is also there in Srimad Bhagavatam, how all these Devi Devtas, all the living entities, including human beings, are created. All the detailed description we are going to learn in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then next part is Sthiti. Sthiti Vaikuntha Vijaya. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 10th chapter, 4th shloka. This is the first line uh, where it is described how living entities are there in different planetary systems. Sthanam. Sthitir Vaikuntha Vijaya. Actually, Sthanam or Sthitir, which means the position of living entities. Now, all the living entities are situated in different planetary systems. Now, all living entities originally belong to the Golok Vrindavan Dham. We don't belong to this material planetary system or material world. When we were originally as a jiva, as a soul, we were serving Lord Krishna in the spiritual world. Somehow or other, we developed this desire that we want to enjoy. We want to be the master. We forgot our position and we decided, okay, I am going to be the boss. So Lord Krishna said, if you want to be the boss, then you cannot stay here because I am the boss here. Can you become boss in your in like you are working in some factory or company
situation.
and then you say, okay, I want to be the master of this company. Can you become? Yes or no?
Right person.
Well, other person will say, oh, if you want to become the boss, then you make your own company. Here you have to listen to me, right? Like in our hospital, like suppose I work under the direction of my department boss, like we have a department and there is a boss in my department. Now, if I say that, okay, I'm not going to listen to you, boss. So my boss will say, okay, you get out from here. I'll find somebody else who listens to me, right? He'll say, get out from here. If you do not want to listen, go, right? You have to listen, right? So now we were all originally serving Lord Krishna in the spiritual world. Chandraji is typing something. Thank you, Chandraji. Hare Krishna. So we all were serving as a spirit soul, Atma, in the spiritual world of Lord Krishna. Then we became rebellion. Some of us became rebellion. And we thought, okay, we want to be the boss. So Lord Krishna said, okay, you get out from here. I will show you the different place where you can become boss. So then he sent us to this spiritual material world. He said, go to this material world. I will create this world for you. So he created this primary element, Sarga. Then he created Brahmaji and said, you create Visarga because these people wants to become the boss. So let's send them here because these people are not suitable here. I don't want any trouble here. So उन्होंने हम सबको भेज दिया कहाँ पे ये भौतिक जगत में तो हम भौतिक जगत में आ गए वी आर ट्रैप्ड नाउ हियर वी आर ऑल सफरिंग because of janma mrityu jara vyadi dukha doshanu darshanam. We are all continuously going, birth after death, birth after death, birth after death, and we are not able to get out. Why? Because we forgot our way out. You see, if you go ever to a museum, amusement park, and there is a big amusement park, like say you go to Disney, such a big park, and you get lost. Now how do you get out? You talk to somebody who knows the path, a guide or somebody, please show me the path. This park is so big. When I go to the any big building, I get lost. Like, it's very difficult to get out of that building until somebody tells you that please go like this, go like that, or you follow the direction. There are usually exit signs, right? So we are all lost in this material world, and then there is only one exit sign, which is Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, which is showing us the guidance. Now we take this exit sign and get out of this material world. If we do not use this sign, then we'll be trapped here forever, because we decided we want to go away, and we came here and then we got lost. Right? What are we lost in? Janma Mrityu Chakra. We are lost in this. Last life I was an animal. This life I am a human. Next life I might be another bird or insect or reptile or whatever, because I have to go through this cycle again and again. So Sthitira Vaikuntha Vijaya, but our real position is Vaikuntha Dham. This is Vaikuntha Vijaya. Vaikuntha Vijaya is Lord Krishna. Vaikuntha Vijaya is the one who is victorious over the Vaikuntha Dham. And who is that? Lord Krishna. So instead of getting entangled into this repeated cycle, we get the sign, exit sign from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam praja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma shucha. Get out of this. Huh? So the right situation for living entity is going back to home, back to Godhead, Golok Vrindavan Dham. Why are we stuck here? We are trapped here. Just leave this material attachment and go to the Krishna Loka. People are too much attached to their possessions. And as long as we are attached to the possessions, we will not be able to get out of this world. है ना? And as long as you are attached, which means you are not ready to detach. You see, like say for example, you have to go to Toronto, right? So if you want to go to Toronto, you have to leave Thunder Bay, right? If you don't leave Thunder Bay, you can't go to Toronto. Can you? So to leave Thunder Bay, you have to be detached from Thunder Bay. Then you go there. Otherwise, if you say, okay, I want to stay here and I want to stay there as well, it's not possible, right? So there are only two things. One is spiritual and one is material, right? If you say, I love material, then you stay material. If you love spiritual, then stay spiritual. There is no combination between both of them. Some people say, I want to balance both material and spiritual life. There is no balance. If you try to balance, there will be imbalance. So how do you become spiritual? You spiritualize your material life. So that is as simple as, right? Like say example, uh, if you want to eat hot food or spicy or mild food, spicy food or mild food, there cannot be a combination of both. You just decide what you want to, right? So if you want to have, then you have something which is intermediate, little spicy, which is the materializing, the spiritualizing the material life. Huh? So add Krishna everywhere. Huh? So if you eat food, then offer food to Krishna. If you work, then offer your work for Krishna. If you smile, smile for Krishna. Laugh, laugh for Krishna. Like that. Sleep, sleep for Krishna. Drive for Krishna. Work for Krishna. Do whatever. Whatever you do. That is the way to Krishna Loka. So we'll learn more about this in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then the Poshanam, the next concept of Srimad Bhagavatam is Poshanam. So what does Srimad Bhagavatam say? 10th canto, 4th shloka. Poshanam tad anugraha. Anugraha is a very important word. Poshanam tad anugraha. So how Lord Krishna is protecting his devotees? So tad anugraha. Anugraha is by his causeless mercy. So Lord Krishna is very kind, and through his mercy, Anugraha, he is protecting all the devotees. Now, here is the word Tad Anugraha, which means causeless mercy. Now, Poshanam means like in Poshanam means to maintain also. Okay, जैसे कि Bharan Poshan, there is a word called Bharan Poshan. Who is doing your Bharan Poshan? Bharan Poshan means that usually it is the food, right? Usually in material sense, the food or the shelter or some sort of a material gains is called as poshan. But for devotees, for people who are surrendered to Lord Krishna, the poshana means that bhakti. How can I get more bhakti? That is my poshana. Uh, so pastimes of Lord Krishna, Krishna Katha, this is our poshan. Like for me, if I want to sustain in Thunder Bay, I can't sustain in Thunder Bay if there is no Krishna Seva involved. I would not have lived here if there would not have been opportunity for me to spread the message of Krishna. There is no point in living here. Chanakya Pandit used to say that one should not live in a place where there is no temple of Lord. You should not live in that place. That is not worth. You should not live in a place where there is no doctor. You should not live in a place where there is no temple of Lord Krishna. And you should not live in a place where there is no source for your income. So these are the three things important. This is what Chanakya Pandit says. That live in a place where there is a temple of Lord, where or there is a devotee of Lord staying there. Second is the Rugnalaya, hospital is there, and then you can make some money. If there are three things, then this is a perfect place to stay. Otherwise, don't leave. There's no, because you can't live without the food, which is your work. You can't live without the hospital because if you become sick, and then you can't live without the spiritual aspect, which is the Lord Himself. That is Poshana. So these are the Poshana, but for devotees, Poshana is Krishna. Unless you see Krishna, you don't feel happy. Mahaprasad. Like that. So, causeless mercy of Lord Krishna is our Poshana. We all are sustaining upon the Krishna. है ना? हम सब लोग कैसे जी रहे हैं? भगवान की अनुकंपा से. है ना? Lord Krishna is sending us air, water, fire, ether. Everything is supplied by Lord Krishna. So we are. This is called as Poshana. So Lord Krishna is Poshana for protecting his devotees. And there are numerous pastimes described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Here is the protection of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was a great devotee of Lord. Little boy. Great does not mean that you are very senior, very top, elderly. No, 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 no. Anybody can be a great devotee of Lord. Even little boy. Prahlad. Prahlad was 5 years boy. Birds satatam kirtadeyantam mam yatantascha dhradavrata. So Prahlad was determined. What was his determination? Prahlad? Prahlad was determined. No matter what happens, I will never forget Krishna. Always, always, satatam kirtayantamam. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj, even in the sleep, he used to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Satatam. So this is a wonderful blessing of Lord that you can remember Him always. Sometimes back when Srila Prabhupada was traveling, somebody said, Prabhupada ji, you are spending so much time in traveling. Uh, how do you get a chance to chant Hare Krishna mantra? Then Prabhupada ji asked him that, okay. He put his ear to the back of Srila Prabhupada and he could hear Mahamantra coming out from Srila Prabhupada's body. Because Prabhupada's body was not like ordinary body. Ordinary Sharira, no ordinary Sharira. It is a spiritual, constant chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Welcome, please. So we should train our mind, our Sharira in this way that we never forget Krishna for a second. Can you live a second without taking oxygen? You can't live without Krishna. Oxygen you can't live. So how can we live without Krishna? Because He's the one who is looking out. So constantly Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. So Prahlad was such a devotee, constant chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Ye yatha mam prapadyanti tam tatheva bhajamyaham. Whoever surrenders according to the surrender, I will reciprocate. If you worship Krishna 24 by 7, what will Krishna do? He will be serving you 24 by 7. He will stay with you always, never leave you. Because you are remembering him, Krishna's duty. So Krishna says, if you surrender 100%, I will be there 100%. So now he has said it, Yogakshemam Vahamyam, I will carry what you lack, I will protect what you have. So he has to obey his promise. So Krishna will come and look after you, guaranteed. I've seen it in lives of devotees again and again and again. It never goes fail. 100% it happens. So Poshanam, Prahlad was constantly remembering Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And his father, Hiranyakashipu, he was trying to hurt Prahlad. In this world also, people will try to come and trouble you, put you in trouble. A lot of things. Everybody's life the same story, right? It's no different. Prahlad had Hiranyakashipu, you have somebody else. There are always troublemakers in our life, right? But Krishna will protect us. This is my experience. That Krishna, Rakhi Krishna Mare Krishna, Rakhi Kin. He will come and take you out of the trouble. Like Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him by under the feet of elephant. Krishna protected him. Then he put him in snakes. Dangerous snakes were put around Prahlad. He was protected. Then he take a sharp weapon and kill Prahlad. Protected. Throw Prahlad from the top of the mountain. Protected. Try to burn Prahlad. Protected. Why? Because Krishna wanted to look after him. Now sometimes uh, Krishna wants his devotee. Now a devotee is in the material world. Krishna says that okay, this devotee has finished all his karma and now he is eligible to come back. So he will take the devotee back with him. So that's why sometimes we see that some senior Vaishnavas they depart quickly. Nowadays, because during the COVID also some of our Vaishnavas left actually, back to Godhead actually. So like we have Pankajangri Prabhu from Mayapur. He was a great devotee of Lord. Now we say that okay, Lord protects his devotee. Then how come COVID affected this devotee? Bhakti Charu Maharaj, senior great Vaishnava. We say okay, Krishna is going to protect. So now how did this devotee disappear? But this devotee has burned all his karmas now. Now Krishna wanted him to come back. So he said, now it's the time you please come back. Now reason may be any reason. The day your account balance is zero is the time you go back to Krishna. Immediately. Krishna doesn't keep you here any longer. Why should he make his devotee suffer? Right? So as soon as their account balance is zero, the reason may be COVID or reason may be accident or reason may be heart disease or anything. But that is the body. Sharira is, but Atma goes back to Krishna Loka. That is how Krishna looks after his devotees. So for us, we might feel bad. Oh, this devotee had to leave the body because of COVID. But this is the time that devotee has finished all his account. Go back. Right? So all these devotees who surrender to Krishna, they go to Krishna Loka directly. So next topic is Manvantarani Sadharma, which is described the definition. So Manvantar is Manu and their laws. Sadharma. The word Sadharma is very important. The Manvantara is Manus give the guidance to Dharma through Manusmriti. Through the laws of Manu, it will give you uh, Dharma. Dharma means the duty, and Sadharma means the perfect duty. So, what is your perfect duty? The dharma usually people say, okay, Hindu dharma, Muslim dharma, Christian, Isai. No, that is not a dharma. That is a way of living. Some people live in Hindu way, some people live in Christian way, some Islamic way. This is a different way of living. But what is the dharma? Dharma means your duty, and that is what is the ultimate duty of everything? To love Krishna and serve Krishna. Sada dharma. Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajah. The dharma, there is a word dharma used. Now, when Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita 5000 years ago, Hindu dharma didn't exist, Muslim dharma didn't exist, Christian dharma didn't exist. What was the dharma at that time? The Sanatan dharma. What does Sanatan dharma means? Sanatan means eternal. There was only one dharma: love and seva, love and service, prem and seva. There's no other dharma, right? What is dharma of animals? Do a dog have a dharma? Yes, dog has a dharma. Dog loves its kitten, right? And dog serves the kittens. Is that right? Not kittens, but puppies. Kittens are for the cat. Puppies and cat, kitten. Sorry. And then lion is called cub, lion cub, and cow is calf, like different names. So uh, dharma does exist in the animals also. Animals also have dharma, which is love and service. Is that right or wrong? Am I wrong?
Right.
Correct. Everybody loves and seva. Love and service is common dharma for everyone. So Sada dharma means using that love and service for everybody without discrimination. It's not I only love Indians and not others. That is not dharma. You be equal to everybody, right? You don't hate anybody. Now, how is that possible? Some people are like partial. They will love humans, but they will hate animals. So they will kill animals, chicken and cow and beef and all. Killing animals is that dharma? That's not a dharma. That's not sada dharma at all. That is the vikarma. So how can you love everybody? Then when you love Krishna and you see everybody as a part and parcel of Krishna, then you can truly love everybody, right? Like say you see Krishna in animals and you see Krishna in humans. Now you love Krishna because you are devotee of Krishna. Now you see animal and you say, oh, there is Krishna in this animal. So you protect them. You don't hurt them, right? If I see Krishna in everybody of you, then what do I say? Will I be harsh? Will I criticize you? If I criticize you, then you will be upset. When you are upset, Krishna is not happy because Krishna is there in your heart. Right? So devotee of Lord is very kind and compassionate to everybody. That is Sadadharma. So then, so that is Manvantara. Manvantara. So this is Manvantarani Sadadharma. So teachings of Manu are this only, that our life should be used for spiritual well-being. Right? This is a small picture which we were talking about in a kalpa. One day of Brahma is called kalpa. In one kalpa, there are 14 manvantaras, and this is the duration of the kalpa which we calculated. Okay, currently we are in the 7 manvantara, right? Then the next concept in Srimad Bhagavatam is Utaya Karma Vashana. Uta or Uti means the impetus. So what is the impetus for performing karma for every living entity? हम सब लोग कर्म करते हैं, yes or no? We all do karma, yes or no? आप कर्म करते हैं, you do karma, yes or no? Yes. Everybody does karma. So why are we doing karma? What is the impetus? What is the stimulating factor or motivating factor for our karma? So here Srimad Bhagavatam says, Utaya karma vasana. Karma vasana. Vasana means desire. Desire for sense gratification. Desire to, we all are working for our physical comforts, right? We all want better house, better facility, better shelter, better food, everything for better. We are working for, there is only desire. There is no other desire. But as long as we have this desire of sense gratification, karma vasana, then what will happen? We'll be trapped. Is that right? Because when you do karma, it accumulates. Either you do good karma or bad karma, it will accumulate. You understand? Suppose you did good karma, you helped somebody, you donated something, then you have got a good balance. So you have to take another birth. You did bad karma, so you're walking and you killed a small insect by mistake. Oh, there is bad karma, you're accumulated, right? So account balance is there now. So then you have to, as long as you do karma, your account accumulates. And then you, now you say Gahana Karmano Gati. Gahana Karmano Gati means uh, not only this life, but in the previous life also, if you have done good karmas or bad karmas, you suffer in this life or get benefit in this life. So karma is very stringent. We accumulate this. And our mind is very tricky. It forces us to do various karmas. There are subtle karmas we do by our mind. Thinking about somebody bad is also bad karma. Right? So that is why mind should always be trained to think welfare of others. And how is that possible? Thinking about Krishna, constantly thinking about Satatam Kirtayantamam Yatantasya Dhradavrata. Otherwise, we'll be trapped here in this karma cycle. So we have to be very. So, if you really want a true impetus, true stimulus for your karma, then what should be that true impetus? That all your karmas should be benefited for the service of Krishna. They are dedicated for service of Krishna. अगर आपके काम में कृष्ण है हर एक जगह, वट एवर यू डू, then you will do, it is called as akarma. So say you are cooking something, vegetables, but then in cooking also we might be killing some insects, germs. That is bad karma. So what do? Unknowingly, you're not purposefully killing, but by mistake something happens. So while cooking we chant Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. And then you have this consciousness that, hey Krishna, I'm cooking this for you, please accept it. So then there is no, because you're not purposefully doing anything. You're trying to make your life as simple as possible, but unknowingly something happens. Then what do? Right? We all make mistake, right? To err is a human. Right? Everybody makes a mistake. So unknowingly we hurt somebody, then we ask Krishna for forgiveness. So then next topic, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Ishanu Katha, science of God. Science of God or various incarnations of Krishna are very nicely explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Lord Krishna, his different activities and activities of his great devotees are also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. When we will learn Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll learn about various incarnations. We already have learned about that before, but we'll talk more about different pastimes of Lord Krishna and his devotees. Actually, there is a very interesting story of Vidur Katha is coming up in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a conversation between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi. Very great devotees of Lord. They are talking to each other about wonderful topics. And they're enlightening discussion. We always like to hear gossip, right? Right? People like to hear chat shows or talk shows, and but here is a wonderful talk or chat going on between two people. Who is that? Vidur and Maitreya Rishi. And similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is also a conversation, katha, talk happening between. Like sometimes you are going on a railway and you are doing, or a train or a bus or something, and you have nothing to do, and then two people are talking. You start listening. Oh, what are they talking about? Do you do that? Have you done that before? Do you? No? Well, people like to listen to others. Inquisitiveness. This is our curious nature. It is nothing bad about it. It is our nature that we are curious. Like, oh, that person was mentioning something like that during that talk. Huh? Is that right? We like we like to hear about that. So here, this is a divine conversation happening. between two great personalities, which is Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami. So when two people are talking, we like to listen, right? Similarly, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a conversation happening between two people. Who is that?
Arjun and
Arjun and Lord Krishna. This is such a wonderful katha. Uh, Similarly, there is a conversation happening between Shaunak Rishi and Sutta Goswami. Wonderful conversation like that. Like similarly, if you see throughout Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we will come across many conversations between great devotees, and we'll learn about that. And when these devotees are talking, they don't talk about any politics, business. Two businessmen they meet, are they going to talk about Krishna Katha? If you say two millionaires, they meet each other on a golf course, doing golf play, what are they going to talk? They're going to talk about how to make more money, right? Right? But two devotees, when they meet, they talk Krishna Katha, right? So if you really want to learn about Krishna, then hear from the conversation of the devotees, right? So that is why we read Srimad Bhagavatam or hear Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no other way to learn about Krishna other than from devotees, about Srimad Bhagavatam. So Ishanu Katha. Then the next topic is Nirodho Anusunya Nirodho Anushayanam Atmana Saha Shaktibhi. So Nirodha means annihilation, winding up of this material cosmic manifestation. So at the end of day of Brahma, after the end of Brahmajis also have expiry date. We all are going to disappear, right? Is that right or wrong? Huh? Nobody is going to stay here forever. Nobody is going alive from this place. Is that right? Nobody is going out here. So what happens when everything is destroyed? Like you and me are going to get destroyed, but what happens when whole universe is destroyed? What happens that? And how that destruction happens? And then after destruction, is there any new creation? And how does the new creation is made? And who monitors this? Everything is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, if you read 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, then it describes about how this world is going to end. Everything is described. Like Kali Yuga cycle is very in detail. Like currently what we are experiencing is already been described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is a Puran called Bhavishya Puran also, and it has also description. But many of those things which are happening currently are already mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Like say appearance of Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha appeared like 1,000 years back, I'm guessing, or 1,200 years back. But then his incarnation is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam thousands of years back, right? Like that. So there are so many prophecies are there in Srimad Bhagavatam, and we'll talk about it when the time comes. So Srimad Bhagavatam does talk about how the world will be destroyed, and how all these conditioned souls will, like jivas, will merge, and how they will merge into Mahavishnu, and how Mahavishnu will create them again. This annihilation and new creation is very detailedly described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we will study that, we'll learn in more detail about it, right? And then the ninth topic is Muktir Hitva Anyatha Rupam Swarupena Vyavastiti. So Mukti, what is Mukti? Mukti means liberation. Huh? So Mukti Hitva Anyatha Rupam Swarupena Vyavastiti. So when we achieve liberation, then we are situated in our original position. Swarupena Vyavastiti. So what does the mukti means? Mukti means that we attain the spiritual body. Now currently we have this material body. So material body has an old age. Oh, is that right? And then disease. And then death. But when we get the spiritual body, we do not have any old age or disease or death. So that is called as mukti. That is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Liberation is a permanent situation of the form of living entity after he gives up the changeable, gross and subtle bodies. That is the liberation. So here in this picture you can see that this is the material world here. This is one universe and there is a Mahavishnu here. From Mahavishnu comes one universe, two, three, four, five, innumerable universe, and this is one bubble which is in a zoomed bubble. Zoom in, and in here you can see this, and this is all material world. And when we are liberated, we go to this spiritual world. This is all spiritual world here. So there is a Brahma Jyoti in between. This space is Brahma Jyoti, and this is Kailash, where Lord Shivaji is staying, and then this is a Vaikuntha Dham, and then there is Ayodhya Dham, and then there is a Mathura Dham and Golok Vrindavan Dham, like that. So when you get liberation, you go to spiritual world, right? And then the last subject matter, प्रभु जी उनको प्रसाद दे दीजिए. Please take prasad.
Yes, sir.
Last topic of Srimad Bhagavatam is Sa Ashraya Parama Brahma Paramatmeti Shabdate. Ashraya. Ashraya, who's Ashraya? Param Brahma Paramatma. So Ashraya is supreme shelter. So through examples of devotees, we are going to learn Srimad Bhagavatam from Srimad Bhagavatam about taking shelter. Who is the supreme shelter? Krishna. Which is why Krishna? Because it is mentioned everywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is mentioned that in Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahmaji also says that Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Adi Purusha is Govinda. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matham Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Ma Buddha Bhava Samanvita. So Lord Krishna himself, he says, Aham Adihi Devanam. I am source of all the Devi Devtas. And then Lord Krishna explains and shows Vishwarupa to Lord Krishna, to Arjuna. And in Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned, Vadanti tat tattvam vidas tattvam yad gnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdate. So in this way, all the scriptures mentions that Lord Krishna is the fountainhead. He is the supreme controller. So we have to surrender, take ashraya of supreme ashraya or super soul, which is Lord Krishna. So in this way, Srimad Bhagavatam describes the 10 important topics of, and this is mentioned in second canto, 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus, we are finishing the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then next week, we'll learn third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll start with the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is starting with the wonderful conversation between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. So this we'll talk next week when we meet. Meanwhile, thank you to all the devotees who are joining us today for this Srimad Bhagavat Katha. Thank you Chandra Prabhu, Dinesh Prabhu, Lalit Prabhu, Nolinji, Parulji, William Prabhu, and all the devotees who joined us here as well. Now we'll do Aarti ceremony, and then we will have question answers if anybody has any questions. We have a Festival of India coming up in Thunder Bay on July 17th, which is Saturday, from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock at CLE grounds. So those who are in Thunder Bay, please join us. It's the drive-in festival. So you bring your car, park your car, enjoy the festivities, and we will give prasadam in your car. You will be able to enjoy that as well. And those who are joining us online can join us on your Facebook page or YouTube. Will be telecasting on our Vedic Cultural Center Facebook page, Festival of India, Thunder Bay Facebook page. So please join us. And if you can drive to Thunder Bay, please drive and come. Okay. So with that, we will perform the Aarti ceremony. Beautiful darshan of Lord. So please take the darshan. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So let's begin the Aarti ceremony. Nama विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौ